Dear Diary, my fingers quake and my blood runs cold as I reflect on the last 3 weeks of my life up until this point. I can say it began 10 years ago when Mother told me and Aiden that she and Daddy couldn't afford to feed us anymore, and we'd be moving away, far away to America. I still remember holding Aiden's hand as we waited in line to be inspected in the Great Hall of Ellis Island. I recall being violently sick from the ship ride, and Aiden nudged me and told me I'd be alright. I was about 5 years old at the time, and Aiden was 4 years my senior. Daddy had always been harsh and rarely showed emotion, but I guess that's because he was trying to be strong for us. Mom, on the other hand, never hesitated to show how miserable she was. She had been brought here against her will, but she was willing to do anything for me and Aiden. I guess it must have been all part of that Irish ennui, to silently bear everything and suppress emotion for the sake of your family. Up until this point in my life, I've never really understood that. Aiden tells me that when I'm old enough, I'll be able to understand the idea of ennui. But until then, I guess I'll just follow in Dad's footsteps.
Come help me with the dishes.
Eventually, we adapted to life in the new country. Aiden and I attended a small public school about 4 or 5 blocks away from the apartment we lived in. Mom wasn't too happy about sending us to public school, seeing as we would be learning about Darwin's theory of evolution, which completely flew in the face of our religion. But it would have to do until Dad made more money. He had been lucky enough to get a job building roads and highways, which was fitting for his love of construction. Mom worked briefly as a factory worker when I was 6, and lost her job in less than a year. I guess, in a way, that was good, because she had more time to spend with me and Aiden. But given that she was never happy and almost always solemn, that time wasn't well spent.
Oh, need any help, Ailise?
No, I'm almost finished. Damn it.
Mom's gonna have my head when she sees this.
Ailise, why don't you take a break? You've been working yourself too hard lately.
I want everything to look nice for when Dad gets home. You know how fussy he gets when the table isn't clean after supper.
Kiddo, he's not going to be home for a while.
And how do you know that? What if he's on his way home, right now? What if Roosevelt decided that they don't need him anymore, and he's coming home, waiting to see us? And how would he like it if we just completely gave up on this place, left it to shit, because he's not coming home for a while?
I know this isn't easy for you, but it really isn't easy for any of us. But he's going to be fine. Who's stronger than Daddy?
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, remember when he carried both you and me in his arms on our first day of school?
Exactly. Nothing would ever scare Daddy. He's going to be home in no time, kiddo.
I still want to keep the house clean, though.
Fair enough. When you're done, come out in the back with me and play some catch.
All right. For as long as I can remember, catch was me and Aiden's favorite thing to do after a long day of school or work. It often relaxed my nerves and brought me back to a childhood where everything seemed so much easier. What did Dr. Connolly say about Mom?
Ailise, I told you. I don't know. Something called polio? All I know is it's really not looking good.
For a few weeks, Mother had been experiencing nausea and high fever that wouldn't seem to leave. After some time, Aiden summoned Dr. Connolly, who has been treating my family since I was 6. Since I was too young, he told Aiden that Mother had a disease called polio, and that the odds of her getting better were slim. Well, now that Dad's gone and Mom's better, then how do you suppose we'll be making money?
I got something lined up. Just don't think on it, okay? I got something lined up with a couple of construction workers down by where Dad used to work. That's all.
Oh, so you're working on the new railroad?
Not quite. Don't worry about it, okay?
He began to change. He was no longer jovial, no longer happy. Everything upset him, and he rarely took time out to comfort me when I was upset. We grew detached from each other, estranged even. I didn't feel the same sense of comfort I usually felt around him. It was almost like I was scared to be around him. One day, Mom took a turn for the worse. She had been throwing up blood the entire night before and began to convulse somewhere around 6 a.m. Dr. Connolly came to the house and told us little hope remained. Her time was imminent. Choking back tears, I walked over to the construction site to inform Aiden. Aiden destroyed what he and our parents always taught me. It was the Irish ennoir, the idea of never breaking, never showing emotion, and never compromising your family's honor no matter what happens. It turned out that he joined the Irish Mafia, a gang commonly known as the Westies, who had been terrorizing the locals for money. Their leader, Eddie McGrath, had promised him large sums of money if he would assist them in their heists and murders.
Ailise O'Brien, were you present on March 23, 1942, at the construction site where this murder took place?
I was.
And were you a witness to the vicious beating and eventual killing of Andy Hintz?
I was.
Miss O'Brien, can you identify the killer in this courtroom today?
Aiden is innocent, sir. It was him.
Let the record show that John Adonis was identified as the killer by Ailise O'Brien.
He always told me that I would one day learn what ennoir truly is. But I guess until then, I will ceaselessly struggle with what he did. His descent into lunacy, and his betrayal of our family. Dear Diary, I now understand ennoir.